Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with the nation. Funding crisis. Improper planning hinder census. Kwara slates 5,928 for teachers recruitment interview. 9 die on Lagos-Ibadan road crash. Let's see. Less than 30% of Nigerians pay tax. Picture story here of our First Lady and the Vice President's wife, Mrs. Nana Shatima, doing the presentation of 10,000 scrubs and crocs sets to midwives in each geopolitical zone across the country. Tinubu seeks stronger security synergy. Development of bitumen port, my priority, says Ayedatiwa. Osun Council workers get conflicting directives. And 22-year-old Nigerian Zuriel tipped for Nobel Peace Prize. Okay, which story?
The major headlines. So, despite President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's interest in the conduct of an accurate census of persons and houses, they said all is not well with the planning. A census needed to facilitate data for economic planning has not been held since 2006, whereas the United Nations had recommended that it should be done every 10 years. So the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Atiku Bagudu, attended a meeting between the President and a National Population Commission delegation yesterday, and they identified funding crisis as part of the problem. President Tinubu himself also identified what he described as the stop-and-go activities of the MPC as another problem. He proposed to set up a committee that will solve the planning problems to facilitate the census plan. So the MPC chairman, Nasara Issa Kwara, raised the hope that the agency was on course to conduct the census, and all other things being equal. He said the president, according to a statement by the spokesperson, Bayo Onanuga, said the 2006 census figures were no longer relevant in planning, particularly for key sectors that directly impact the population. He said that 760,000 tablets to be used for imputing statistics during the head count have already been acquired and stored with the central bank, so they are getting ready. Kwara said the commission would engage development partners for support whenever the MPC received the president's nod to proceed with the census. So he made a statement, and I quote, he said, "We must ascertain who we are, how many we are, and how to manage our data. Without an accurate census, we can't successfully plan for employment, agriculture, and food sovereignty. So many problems come up without accurate data. We should work on our financial muscle well in place to lift our burden before we go and meet development partners for census." So we need to do the census first so that we know our exact number before we're looking for, partnerships, sponsorships, and, a way to lift our economy out of where it is. So we're hoping to hear that they would have sorted out their plans, and let's know when we're going to be having the census.
Okay, so I have the story of the less than, they said 30% of Nigerians pay tax. The Senate President Akpabio told the stakeholders at the hearing that less than 30% of Nigerians pay tax and they want good roads. They said the Minister of Finance, Coordinating Minister for Economy, Olawale Edun, and the NNPCL, Melile Kyari, Federal Inland Revenue, they listed all their names, including the Presidential Committee of Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Chairman, Taiwo Oyedele. Nigerian Customs Services were among the stakeholders at the events. They said the Senate President challenged lawmakers, stakeholders, and the private sector to unite in overhauling Nigeria's tax system, which he described as outdated and burdensome. He also emphasized that taxation should not be a tool of oppression, but a mechanism for national development. And he finally said that taxation should be fair, transparent, efficient. Every Nigerian deserves a system that works for them, not against them. So right now, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make sure that the tax, this thing that they are going to do, favor Nigerians, and so that Nigerians will not feel the heat of it.
Okay. So 22-year-old Zuriel Oduwole, an advocate for peace, education, and gender equality, has been nominated for the 2025 Nobel Peace Prize. She has actively engaged in global diplomatic efforts, influencing discussions on education, peace, and working to create opportunities in marginalized communities. If you recall, she was born in Los Angeles to Nigerian parents. Ms. Oduwole has engaged in over 35 world leaders, spoken to 35 world leaders, including presidents and prime ministers, to discuss policy and developmental issues. Her efforts focus on improving education access for marginalized community. And I know she's been on Your View a few times back in the day. She was here in Nigeria. Her CV is quite impressive. I mean, at 13, she mediated a territorial dispute between Guyana and Venezuela, meetings with then President David Granger at the United Nations to emphasize the importance of peaceful dialogue. In 2027, at 14, she met with U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry. at the State Department to push for reward-based education programs. So many other things she's done. So her CV is quite impressive. She's done quite a bit from the age of 13. Now she's 22, and she's been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. Congratulations to her. Wishing her the best.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah, so I took the 9 dead and 3 injured in the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway crash. Early in the morning yesterday, there were 13 people in the bus. 9 died. There were 13 people, 10 men and 3 women. 6 men and 3 women died. The FRSC have attributed it to fatigue and speed. That he was probably tired and then he was speeding. And he's just begging people to please stop speeding and rest before you drive.
Okay, The Punch. Lagos Assembly Speaker Miranda may step down as Akonde panel shortlists 7. 4.5 billion naira fraud. Emefiele alleges bias, demands judges withdrawal. Ex-Nigerian NSA linked to $1 million US horse farm, says report. Osun crisis. Local government workers shun APC chairman's ultimatum to resume. Filling stations shut. Loading halted as Lagos impounds tankers. And IBB's book, Don't Tarnish Braithwaite's Name. Family wants Obasanjo. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Okay, so I have the filling stations shut and halted as Lagos impounds. They said the marketers of petroleum products have expressed concerns that the alleged harassment of tanker drivers by officials of the Lagos state government could lead to fuel scarcity in a few days, as some filling stations were shut in various parts of the state yesterday. They also vowed to shut operations in the southwest if the 30 tankers arrested by the Lagos state government are not released. They said that the 30 tankers loaded 45,000 liters of petrol, and they were all towed out of the Dangote refinery at 2 a.m. Last night. That's on Saturday night. They said he went ahead to say the cost of a truck now is less than 150 million and the content is 50 million, and the task force went there at midnight and told them, without minding the safety, without minding that there could be an explosion. He said that he maintained that the inability of the truck drivers to transport fuel for days will result in scarcity unless something is done urgently. He said that through the filling station, though the filling stations are still selling, they will not have anything to sell when their tanks are empty in a few days. So they are calling the Lagos state government that they should come so that they can have a meeting and find out why they had to go and tow these trailers, these tankers from the spot that they were given to park. According to them, that they were not supposed to park there. That's what Lagos state is saying. So they said they want to have a meeting to get a result. So if not, there's going to be scarcity.
All right, let's go on a very short break. When we come back, we'll continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.